Hello, this is Pixel Freak, and we're doing part 48 of the Final Fantasy Dimensions walkthrough. So if you've been watching these in order, in the last piece I said we were going to Odin's Castle. In this piece, we're not. You see from the title here that we're actually going to the underground waterway for Gardenia. Odin's Castle is actually the next piece after this one, so we'll pick him up at that point. So this piece, it's a little bit longer, mostly because we're kind of still walking our way back to town, and there's some story elements here that result in us needing to go down into the sewer to sneak into the slums. Dun dun dun, everybody's dead. So as it turns out, while we were at the Imperial base, they kind of snuck back and just started killing people, because that's what you do for fun. You know, when someone's at your base, you just go back to their house and you just kill all their friends. So there's another instance right there that no music. It kind of seems like in some of these kind of more dramatic pieces for this game, it seems like there should be music there, and maybe they're just missing a track. They're like, well, what track can we put here? Hell if I know. Let's just put none. So they just put no music there. So after we've found the dead people, now we go back to the slums, where we will find more carnage after we cure the poison. You can get a decent idea of my levels here, 47, 46. My levels are a little bit higher than what would be typically seen at this point in the game. Part of the reason for that is because I want to make sure that I'm able to coast through the game easily for the walkthrough. But it's also because I have to play the game while recording, which requires that I'm at my workstation to do that. So whenever I'm away from my computer, the only thing I can really do is grind. So sometimes I spend a lot of time grinding, and sometimes I don't. That results in me oftentimes being far over-leveled, more so than I would normally need to be. So I'd say if you're anywhere over 40 at this point, you're doing okay. So into the slums we go, and we have Imperial soldiers here. So it's a good idea to kind of go into the base a little more and then have your powwow, rather than go back out into the desert. Alright, so now we're going to go back to Gardenia. There is a secret passage behind Matoya's dressing room. There's a secret switch in there. You'll go through that. You'll have to walk back through the waterway, and then eventually you come into the kind of sewer. It is the sewer. They call it a waterway. I think it's the sewer. But anyways, I guess a waterway could be for like drinking water. So either they're drinking it or they're peeing in it. Maybe both, but probably not. But anyways, you have to go back to that, and then there's some kind of puzzle-ish elements there once you get there. So I'm going to cut the commentary short here, at least for the moment. I'll pop back in once we get into the sewer. Alright, so we are beneath Gardenia now. The first place you want to go is straight down to get the treasure box. If you don't get the treasure box and you go up instead, or if you go into the water, you go into the water, you can't get underneath the bridge. If you go up first, when you flick that switch, it's going to kind of screw things up so you can't get the treasure boxes all in order. So you do need to go pick up that first treasure box at the bottom first before you go flip the first switch. The enemies here are more kind of water-based, so as I'm using fire like a moron, you should be using thunder, lightning, whatever it's called in this game. I can't remember it off the top of my head. So for your dancer, it's gonna really be up to you what you want to do with her. A lot of time I spent with just her using the slow dance to slow everybody down. Just take a little bit less damage on my guys. It helps when you've got a really solid auto battle plan. Aside from that, she's a really good healer, I should say. And when she does run kind of low on MP, just switch to Osmo stance. It does make you have to get out of your auto battle frequently. But once you do, and you just use Osmos for about 4 or 5 turns, she's ready to go again, and you can put her back on whatever duty she had. Thundara, there we go. I actually switched to Thundara. Alright, so when you flip the switch up here, it's going to close that bridge down there. It's going to make it so you can get all the way across. And then you got to flip the switch on the other side. The fights in here, they're a little bit longer, and I remember when I was playing this, which was actually not that long ago. I remember thinking that too. The fights here are a little bit longer. That's going to make you use a little more MP. You might be better off in some cases just running. In some dungeons, you'll see me do that. It's a valid way to go if for some reason you get turned around in one of the dungeons or one of the caves or whatever you're in. And you all of a sudden run out of magic points. The game's set up pretty well so that won't happen. It's set up to where if you go pretty much the right path, about the time that your characters run out of mana points, if you've been auto-battling, you'll find a safe spot you'll be able to mana up. If you get lost at any point in time, you're probably going to burn through all your MP pool, and you'll either have to use ethers or you're going to have to just start running. A lot of times you'll see me, I run. That's been taken out of a few videos already. I know I was editing out all the times that I ran because it really makes no sense for you to watch me just get into a fight to run away. But since a lot of my videos moving forward should have all the fights in them, because I've managed to keep the videos relatively short and still have the fights in there, you'll see me probably running for some fights. It also cuts down the editing time, having to cut out all these fights. Unfortunately, this particular waterway, I guess it is, there are a lot of fights, and they take a little while to complete each one, so I'd have to say it's annoying. So now that's switched the bridges here, so we can go over to the left. I think there was a treasure box over to the right, but I could be wrong. Anyways, once you've done that, you can just go on, you'll go down to the next section, and you will continue moving on through the dungeon. Alright, so in this particular room, there is more than one switch. So when you pull the first switch, you're actually going to see the click, but nothing is going to happen. That's because there's two different switches, I think it's just two, that operate this door. And the door is directly north of where I am currently. So here's the first switch, and when we pull it, it appears as though nothing happens, but that grate is actually going to open up. What we need to do is we need to find the other switch. So, moving on. There's also a room up here that kind of has this interesting bridge. It almost seems like a puzzle, but it's not really even a puzzle. It looks way more confusing than it actually is. You pretty much just walk straight through it. And at this point in this dungeon, these fights have just gotten horrible. It's been short to watch through this. Definitely making me reconsider my plan to not edit out all the fights. So maybe what I'll do is I'll go back and, as I'm editing these videos in the future, maybe I'll, if the fights aren't they're pretty short, I'll leave them in. But if they're too long, I'm just gonna cut them out. All right. So here's that second switch. Oh, there must be a third switch too. Yeah, there we go. So that opened up this pathway over to the left. Pick up that box and keep on going. The third switch must be in the that northwest corner there, and behind that door. So my magic pools are starting to run a little bit low. Not sure if this is one of the dungeons that I start running from. It might be. Sneak attack. Oh. Status ailments are so annoying because not only does it, slow you down in the fight, it means you have to get back into the menu and then cure your status ailment in the menu. Unless you cure it in the fight, but that's going to take just as long. And then you've screwed up your auto battle. You might as well just wait and do it in the menu. It makes me really appreciate those games that allow you to clear your status ailments between fights. Love those games. But then it kind of, when you do that, it takes away from the idea of these status ailments. It makes them much less threatening. Who really cares about poison when it's only going to hit you 2 or 3 times in the battle, and it's only going to do a couple hundred damage. As is pretty normal for me, I'm leaving silence on my melee characters. That's what I normally do. I really don't care that my melee characters can't cast spells, particularly because they don't have spells. So here's the room that I said is kind of a faux puzzle. It's not really much of a puzzle at all. When you look at it, really there's only one way you can go, and then you flick a switch, changes to where all the bridges go, and then there's really only one way you can walk back out, and then it's done. It's honestly kind of a joke of a puzzle. Alright, so here's the switch. That'll change your bridges for you. That'll open up the door. So there's a total of 3 switches. Oh, maybe it won't change the bridges. I thought it changed them in here. Perhaps I was wrong on that. If I was, oh well. I must have been remembering a different piece of the game. Alright, now that that's clear, you go up through the center and to the save spot. Good reminder here that at this point in the game you should have so much mana that you need to use cottages to restore all of it, depending on how much you're using. A tent's only going to heal up like 100, 150, something like that. Every time you use one, so you can use a series of tents. That's another option if you have the tents on hand, but cottages is what you'll probably see me using moving forward. Alright, so Desert Moon Hideout, we're going to approach the boss, and we're going to approach the trader. It's unfortunate they couldn't figure out how to fix the text wrapping problem in this game. At least they haven't thus far, and the game's been out for quite a while now. Oh well, I guess. And you have to fight him. So I guess I should say something about this fight. I will say it's really, really easy. There was not much to this. This is not even a memorable fight. There's not much that happens here. as I did in the last boss fight, if you find that you're getting pummeled on pretty good, just go ahead and use a double cure approach. Go down pretty quickly. Unfortunately, I didn't have anything to cure stone. At least it didn't look like it. So, a gold needle it is. Pretty easy to fix. Stone or petrify is one of the status ailments that I don't leave on my characters. It's one of the things I like to get rid of right away, because effectively they're dead. I mean, they might as well be. If the rest of your party's KO'd, that will be the end of the game. So you need to make sure that they are brought back right away. Ooh, a counterattack of silence. That was pretty well played. Oh, come on. Should have unsilenced my black mage. That's okay. We'll do it right here. And there you go. Pretty easy fight, not a lot to it. A couple status ailments are going to get casted out there while you're fighting it, but yeah, nothing you can't deal with. So now that that's done, you're going to have some story elements here, and then it'll be time to set out on your way to the next dungeon. They don't tell you directly to go to Odin's Castle, but you'll see me take kind of a digression as I get out to where I'm going. It's actually on the other side of the Imperial camp. You have to go back to the Imperial camp, and luckily the end of that area is right near the beginning, so you just kind of like walk right through. Luckily, it's with the Imperial camp. When you go there, you start out and then you end up running away, and then you spend the entire dungeon coming back from the end of it, where you had run yourself. That means that the end and the beginning are right by each other, luckily. So you just have to walk right through it, and then it'll put you on the other end of the Imperial camp, and there are two different dungeons to go to there. One of them is a castle, and that's Odin's Castle, and the other one is the final piece of this section of Noct, the story of the dancer. And so we'll wrap that up in the video after Odin. So a smart move might be to actually teleport out. I'm not sure. Oh no, never mind. This is the slums. There's no... Oh, this is not the slums. Why did I walk back this way? I may teleport out at this point. I don't remember exactly how I got out of here. Yeah, so we had the moon hut. It would be wise to just walk through the slums. So I have to apologize. Normally here we go, that's the way out. Normally in these particular positions, I'll see when I walk the wrong way, and then I'll edit that out. Here, I didn't edit it out. So, a little bit confusing there. Maybe teleporting out isn't the best option. Particularly because this cutscene is present. You might not even be able to teleport out.